That's based upon is strictly just the amount of barley that is used. So I mean, obviously, if they use less barley, they have less.
So one tank is one batch of brew.
I mean, one of these things is 300 350 liters of water. Now the water will change. I mean, in one of these things will hold about 800 liters in total. Now these are the fermenters. So out of each fermenter, you'll get 14 kegs, just shy of 14 kegs.
Okay.
And so yeah, as they're doing the batches, they're putting them through. So they send the water over to the kettle after it, and then they'll scoop out the initial, whatever porridge-like substances are made.
And you get more porridge for which types?
Well, the lighter the beer is. I'm drinking John A right now, so it'll be a lighter beer. It'll use less of the barley, so they'll have less in here to scoop out. It'll be a smaller amount.
And that's actual product. That's the higher the alcohol content, the higher the flavor, the lower you'll go, the more you'd have to ferment it in the tank.
Yeah, whenever this settles down, and it does actually act as a natural filter as it settles. It just kind of brings everything down with it, leaving the liquid on top. They pump that out, and then all they're left with is just this mash at the bottom, and then they scoop it out.
So how often do they play with the hops and the malts? Which are the two biggest things that you talk about?
Daily. Like he gets up here every day and cleans these out. And if it's, once the batch goes through a full batch, you're looking at about 15 days-ish.
But you would start to keep it fresh. You'd keep.
Yeah, and so that's from start to the end of the fermentation program, right to the very end when it's filtered.
So how consistent is each batch? So if I was to say, I'm here right now drinking a specific, the white or whatever, next week, the next batch that comes along, is it going to taste exactly the same, or are we going to find some small nuances?
Yeah, there are always tiny nuances, so sometimes in the alcohol percentage, but with the flavor itself, they're down to a science. Like, there's a heavy chemistry behind it, so if they find something that's working, they're not going to mess with it too much, especially with their flagship beers like the red and the hot giant.
And if I'm not mistaken, a brewmaster is mostly hired for their sense of taste. They will consistently let out the same quality product. I mean, alcohol content is a rare breed that can distinguish that from other tongue. It's a brewmaster who will say this is this brand of beer.
Yeah, and I mean it's a degree in itself. It's its own tough course, and they're well qualified, and we have two well qualified brewmasters here, as well as. They do the job together. There is another gentleman who does more on the sales side. He was the original brewmaster.
A lot of chemistry in it. Right?
There is, and they have a great time down here. They work 8 to 4, and it's funny watching them do their thing because it's they're upstairs after work, kind of just having a pint, and they're being like.
Are they comparing notes as
themselves? They're like, I made this. This is
all right. It's all right.
It's all right. What batch is this? And then if they don't like it, because.
But again, and the brewmaster does have that blank check to say, I'm not going to put my name on this, where they can say this isn't worth selling, and they do have that ability, the freedom.
Yeah. I mean, they can't just start scrapping batch after batch after batch like crazy people.
Well, then they get fired.
Yeah, they'll get fired. Kevin, they have a lot of money, but they're not going to. They're not going to allow that.
They appreciate the product enough. They will stamp. I mean, there's no stamping of the name, but they'll agree with this is what I'm selling.
Yeah, and they're really on board with this. It's great to see. They're in here all the time. The owners. Kevin's in here all the time. He did a tour yesterday, actually.
Can you tell us a bit about the owners?